Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and it's week 2. You know what that means? It's time to look at our favorite leans, our favorite lines, our favorite wagers of the week 2 NFL season. And to help me do it, of course, is the prop prophet, Andrew Erickson. I got to get used to saying that. The alliteration's a little tough. I, of course, am Joey Futures, and our guest, you know, is Moneyline Monaco. That's right. He's by far got the best nickname on the planet. You can't be in the betting space without a nickname anymore. That's a fact. Everybody knows that. Alex Monaco joins us. You know him, of course, from the Volume Network, also from MSG here in the New York City area. And Monaco, before we start the show, for those people who don't know, and I didn't know myself, you're a San Diego boy. And now you've come all the way to New York City, which, again, you're nuts. That's a crazy thing to do. You live in heaven. Why would you move to hell? And then on top of it, you're a Charger fan. Formerly of San Diego, now they're the Los Angeles Chargers. What's it like being a Charger fan now that they vacated your city of choice? Have you stuck with them? And is it time maybe to start looking after last Sunday's action for a new team? I don't know.
Well, first off, Joe and Erickson, thanks so much for having me. Big fans of the show. Fired up to be on with you guys and teammates with you on Volume. To answer your question, as a San Diego kid, I said it before the show, I'm in recovery as a San Diego Chargers fan. I mean, your owner goes up the Disneyland 5 freeway, does a pretty much a damn near memorial for Qualcomm Stadium. It crumbles. Then they're a tenant with Kroenke, which I always joke San Diego can't have nice things. You can't have great weather, Ron Burgundy, and championships. You got to pick 2. So unfortunately, I'm in this kind of toxic ex relationship. But yeah, to answer your question, it's a very difficult team for me emotionally to go to the sports book and bet for or bet against. I thought the Ace Ventura Dolphins were gonna crumble last week. Tua goes for the 4th most passing yards in the history of NFL openers. I mean, just bad beats sick. But yeah, it's a love-hate relationship right now. I hate it.
Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel, and Andrew Erickson, you are still Andrew Erickson. Erickson, good week for you last week. You crushed the props on the Friday show last week. In case you missed it, every Friday we're doing that prop show. So, Andrew, week 1 is always wacky. There's always weird things. Obviously, the weirdness was there. Got the Cleveland upset right. We were all right on that one. The Pittsburgh one I was wrong on. I really thought they were going to show up. They did not. But how do you feel after week 1 here? Was there one thing here where you are starting to worry about a certain team in particular, maybe, Erickson, as you look at week 1, maybe not thinking that they are going to be the team you thought they were?
Yeah, I think that team for me is probably the Seattle Seahawks. You know, thinking that they would welcome in this Rams team that doesn't have Cooper Kupp, and they would just roll, and they got rolled. You know, they got completely outplayed, and now you have injuries on their offensive line. Their 2 starting tackles are going to miss games. Is Geno for real? Now they're big underdogs against the Detroit Lions, who are a team that's surging. So, yeah, a lot of question marks about the Seahawks and Geno Smith. So I'm concerned about, you know, those NFC West futures after the 49ers basically curb stomped the Steelers, who I also had the money line on, and that looked like a bet that was gone in like the first quarter. So, yeah.
Yeah, Geno certainly, I mean, that's a huge question, too, is whether or not Geno Smith's 2022 season was just a fluke. If so, it's going to be a long year up in the Pacific Northwest, that's for sure. Now, we're going to go through the guys' favorite bets of the week, the 5 favorites for each of them. So that's 10 in total for those of you who like math. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys, we are giving away jerseys, as we are, and we're actually finally giving away our Aaron Jones jersey. That autographed Aaron Jones jersey is going to C. Now, not Sia, not the artist. This is just C. S-E-E, you know who you are, at SEE6662. That's you. You're the big winner. So get in touch with us over at mailbag@bettingpros.com with your mailing address, proof of your subscription to Betting Pros YouTube channel, and we'll get that jersey shipped out to you right away. Again, C, congratulations. You're the big winner. That's C. SEE6662. I know, really clever situation there, but hey, look, it worked for you. And again, if you're saying, hey, I want a jersey, why did C win one and I didn't? Here's your chance, because we're giving away a James Cook autographed jersey next, right here on the channel. And all you have to do to win it is subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below. That's it. Boom. All you have to do to win that James Cook autographed jersey. And don't forget to click that little bell for notifications till it goes ding, so you know every time a piece of content drops here on the channel. My best bets video of the week just came out yesterday, so what a time to be alive. Let's start with you, Alex Monaco, your first favorite bet for week 2 in the NFL. What do you have?
I hate to fade all this positive Aaron Jones juju with the autographed jersey being given away and come off the top here, guns hot going Dirty Birds. But listen, I grabbed the number at 1.5 plus 1.5 on DraftKings. We've seen it completely flip now. Atlanta's the -1 favorite as we speak. Still like them on the money line. But gentlemen, to me, I was very high on this Bears team before the season. Boy, do I look horrendous with that thought. But again, divisional dances, older brother, younger brother, we'll throw that out. But I'm looking at this Falcons team who style of play coming in. What do they do well? They run the ball. They slow the game down. And what did they do last week? Incredibly to a picture-perfect tee. Time of possession, winning field position, winning the 3-0 turnover battle, winning the penalty yards. And of course, yes, they're going against a rookie quarterback. We know that trend. I believe not since Luck has anyone first overall pick coming in one on the road. But I'm watching that 10-6 at halftime Packers-Bears game, gentlemen, and the Bears didn't even try to run the ball. Justin Fields led the team in attempts. So combination of things. Bijan and Algier both going for over 5 yards a carry. I love. Two-headed monster, top 3 run team. Let's not forget this Packers team was bottom 7, giving up damn near 140 last year. So if they could just stick to the script, and to me, this is a game of babysitting 2 quarterbacks at recess on the playground. Who's going to behave the best, Jordan Love or Ritter? I mean, Ritter, again, you can spin the painting one way or the other. His numbers aren't great, but that's what this Falcons team identity-wise is going to be. And I think to their credit, they have their identity down. So you could say, yeah, Drake London, Kyle Pitts doing nothing in the fantasy world, or you could say they know that this is their MO. And so to me, looking at A.J. Dillon going for 13 on 19 last week with an Aaron Jones hamstring and a Christian Watson hamstring, I got to lean Falcons at home, and I have a fun stat here from last year. Fourth quarter Falcons pasty, number 1 in the league last 4 weeks of the season, giving up only 17% of successful pass attempts. Average league rate was 41. So Jesse Bates, Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, let's not act like this defense isn't better. I'm going to go Falcons at home against Jordan Love. Honeymoon's over in a week, baby.
Well, they got the big win that they wanted, which is to own the Bears. And look, we have not yet begun to Bijan. Let me just tell you, this is going to be a slow play here for Arthur Smith for September, and then October 1st, it's going to be completely unleashed on the NFL, and it's going to be fantastic to watch. So everybody sell your Tyler Algier shares right now. All right, go ahead, Andrew Erickson. Let's get over to you. Give me one of your favorite bets for week 2 in the NFL. What do you have?
Going to the New York Giants, who got curb stomped by the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. You like that?
You spent a lot of time with Ed Norton this offseason? You like that term? You're a big fan of the curb stomp.
I think it's a really good descriptor of when you lose 40 to nothing.
If you say it one more time, that's your whole quota for the month. You realize that.
That is fair. I will. No more curb stomps for me.
No more curb stomping.
So with this matchup here with the Giants, Big Blue, okay, Cardinals were 7-point underdogs versus Sam Howell-led Commanders in week 1. And they covered because Howell had a fumble 6. Like, that's why. It was not because their offense moved the ball under Josh Dobbs in any way, shape, or form. 3.6 yards per play. That ranked 4th worst in week 1. They had 9 penalties, resulting in 122 yards for the Commanders. They had 3 fumbles. They lost 2. This offense is horrible with Josh Dobbs as their starting quarterback. 3rd highest turnover-worthy play rate in week 1. And I just think that New York is being too harshly penalized because of how bad they played against the Dallas Cowboys. But the Dallas Cowboys are the cream of the crop, the tops of the NFC, especially with that defense. The Cardinals couldn't be any more different than the Dallas Cowboys. And when you look at what the Giants have done under Brian Daboll after losses, specifically not against, when they're not facing the Dallas Cowboys, because for some reason they just can't beat them.
No,
perfect 5-0, perfect 5-0 versus spread following a loss under Brian Daboll. Average margin of victory over 10 points. So I think stat. Giants, even on the road, 5.5 points. I'm taking Big Blue.
That's a good stat because this game actually worries the crap out of me because it's so easy and it looks so much like a get-right game after a bad week 1, but I don't know. But that stat you just gave me actually makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about that number. So good on you, Erickson. Well done. Now I can sleep tonight. Monaco, let's go back to you for another pick. What do you have here for number 2 on your list for week 2?
I hate to do this. I love the Erickson pick, by the way. I'm definitely tailing Big Blue. I hate that there's a captain hook here, the Dustin Hoffman hook, as I like to call it. The 3.5 is live on the road against the Jags, but I'm gonna plug my Jewish Italian schnoz, gentlemen, and take this 3.5, lay it, and hope the history of not just Andy Reid with extra time, which I'll get to in a second, but this Chiefs team, by the way, kind of going off of an Erickson-esque stat here with the G-Men, following a home loss, they've covered the spread in 7 consecutive road games. Now, you go look last year, Mahomes off losses, disgusting. Love the value, by the way, on a fantasy show of Mahomes plus money over 2.5. 3 losses last year. The following game after a loss, he did have 3 touchdown games, including that 44 piece against the Niners. But he's 10-1 on the road after a straight-up loss. We know about that key number, right? When he's a favorite of more than 3.5, not a great cover under sea level, but 3.5 or less, he's 15-6 on the road. Plays the Jags, perfect 4-0 in his career for what it's worth, but I got an interesting number here I'll leave you with. Not only do we know that Andy Reid, with 8 or more days rest, is a top 4 cover here in the history of 2 decades of coaches, only behind Belichick, Peyton, and Tomlin in September and October. But listen to this. There's only 8 teams in the last 20 years where a team wins week 1, comes home, and is not favored against a team that lost. Only 7 instances. This will be the 8th team. Only 7 previous instances. 1-6 straight up. That team is 1-4-2 against the spread, failing to cover by 11.4 points per game on average. So that would be the Jags. Yeah. So again, we're getting a Snickers hangry Chiefs team. Mahomes, a decorated champion they're looking for any bulletin board material they can get. This is, can they win without Kelsey? God forbid Kelsey suits up. Do I dare say Taylor Swift's current boyfriend suits up? That line probably moves a point. We saw it move without him last week. They get Chris Jones. I got to take this team that Jags were plus 210 with 8 minutes left against a first ever starting quarterback. I got to take the 3.5. Hopefully it's not a sucker play.
No, I don't think it is at all. Some great stats in the Jags. Secondary certainly needs some work. Now, of course, so the receivers of the Chiefs, I will say this about the Chiefs, whether Kelsey plays or doesn't, I think this is the relationship that America needs right now, to tell you the truth. Like, I think this is how we come together as a nation, is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And I'm also here for it. I tweeted this morning. I also have this terrible feeling that eventually when they break up, she will be playing Super Bowl that year. And then she'll be singing some breakup song about him at halftime. And that, my friends, I'm here for. I'm here for all of that.
That is an all-time Super Bowl prop.
By the way, how much of the bar mitzvah money going on to the Chiefs this week?
You know what? Well, we're just chasing, trying to get that back. I'll go with a couple of Dave & Buster's power cards worth. We'll go more than one unit. All
right, Erickson, back to you for your number 2 pick this week. What do you have?
All right, I'm looking at a matchup between 2 rookie quarterbacks, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, over 39.5. I know that overs are no longer the rage thanks to the 2 cover high looks. Thanks a lot, NFL. But I'm going over here with this matchup. We're in a dome, and we had two teams come out with very good metrics in terms of pace and in terms of neutral passing rate. So Indy was 5th in neutral pace, 11th in neutral passing rate in week 1 with Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson. I mean, look, they were another rushing touchdown away from 28 points in Anthony Richardson's first start in the NFL. 228 passing yards, another 40 rushing yards on the ground. So I don't think his number is going to go down anytime soon. They don't have any healthy running backs. They don't want to run the football. It's either run the ball with Richardson or chuck the ball downfield to one of his receivers. And the Colts secondary is so bad, which is why I think they're going to have to keep on scoring points, because I think CJ Stroud, I hate the offensive line for the Texans, but CJ Stroud looked good against the Baltimore Ravens. He looked really good despite giving...
For the level of difficulty on the other side of your first start in the NFL, going on the road in Baltimore, which is a tough place to play anyway. Dude, we talked about it. Like, we did the draft coverage together. CJ Stroud was always to me, I still think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I will still stand by that. Like, the most ready to go play and compete in the NFL. You're right. I think this is actually a sneaky DFS one too. I can't wait for this one tomorrow with D-Pro on the DFS show. But anything else here to add on this Texans-Colts game?
Yeah, the Texans on their side of the ball in terms of play calling, 3rd in neutral pace, 7th in neutral passing rate in CJ Stroud's first start. So we have 2 teams that want to throw the football, that want to play fast, that are playing in a dome. And honestly, they're giving off these vibes of their 2 rookie quarterbacks that their coaches are letting them play. Like, go out and get better and improve. Like, neither of these teams are like, okay, we have to win this year. It's like, no, let's improve. Let's get you set up to be an NFL starting quarterback. So especially with how bad the Colts defense was, how bad their secondary is with no named players defending, I think Nico Collins, Robert Woods, like, these guys can have big games for CJ Stroud, and especially with the number at 39.5. It's just, the books are saying, oh, they're 2 rookie quarterbacks, can't get it done. Well, Anthony Richardson got it done in week 1. I think CJ Stroud's going to get it done in week 2. So I'm going over.
All right, and don't forget, everybody, if you want to keep an eye on this game, you can always set a game notification on the BP app. So if you haven't, download the app, and you can set those line alerts, which means you go and you look for the specific game, and you'll get game notifications if anything's moved, if you're looking to make a certain wager in a certain spot. Again, sync all your sports books. Use the BettingPros app to stay on top of all of these things, as there is movement over the next couple days, because there inevitably will be here and there. Monaco, let's go back to you for another selection for week 2. What do you have?
Well, right now you can get it on DraftKings, Joe, +3. It's my dirty dog of the week. I'm going money line with it. Can't go by money line Monaco and not take a little underdog money line here and there. I'm going to take the Patriots prime time Sunday night at Bill's place against the Laces Out Dan Dolphins here. Look, first time since 2003 that the Patriots are back-to-back underdogs at home. Again, you guys saw what happened, 16-0 first quarter. Talk about a live bet, gorgeous purchase. Pats were plus 14.5, came back almost backdoor covered on that 2-point conversion from Mac. I liked what I saw with the New England adjustments after the first quarter. They give up 9 points to the defending NFC champions in the remaining 3 quarters. Again, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error working Bill O'Brien, everything back in. But 2 elements here. We got a not so good road team. Historically, I believe they lost 5 straight to end the season last year, 3-6 on the road, the Finns, going against a unbelievable defense that, you look at Tua's numbers against the Patriots, they're serviceable, but I have another sick trend here in the weeds, cross country with it. It's only been 5 teams that have done this in recent memory, but going Pacific time zone to Eastern time zone, back-to-back road games to start the season. Only been done a handful of times. Those teams are 1-4 straight up. Chiefs, the last team to do it in 2018, and a negative 42 point differential in those 5 games. So again, not a great road team, having to go back to back on the road. If I'm sitting there in McDaniel talking to my locker room, a 1-1 split to head back to base camp is a win in this division, especially all things considered. They're the chalk now to win the division on DraftKings. This is the first time since 2003. 2003, I was doing long division and learning cursive. That's how long ago this team was the favorite. But you look at also the big plays. They led the league last week in big plays with 6, 20 yards or more against the Chargers. How many did Bill and that defense give up to Philly? I call it trolling at the beer pong table. 0. So you're not going to give up the big play. You're going to eliminate the best thing that they do on offense like Bill does. I'm going to take the 3 here to recommend to your viewers, but I'm going to go money line.
I love it. Plus 140 right now. I see the money line, and the best one you can get is over on Caesars right now. Actually, that's the best of all of them. Again, this is why you use BettingPros. You can see all the different lines, all the different houses, and where you can get the best one and sync all your sports books to bet them. This is music to Erickson's ears. He loves hearing about the Patriots. I'm also a Patriots fan, as many people know here too. But I'm so old. See, I wasn't doing long division in 2003. I was already through the Parcells era and through the Pete Carroll era by that time. So I earned this thing, not like Erickson, who just walked his way into it. All right, Erickson, let's get back to you. And you did. So don't even pretend like you didn't. You totally, you were born, and the Patriots were a dynasty, basically. That's what you have. All right, so let's get after it. Let's get to the next one. What do you have on the list for the people, Erickson?
I'm going Chicago Bears. +3. They opened up as favorites against the Buccaneers and now are dogs. I mean, anytime I can bet against Baker Mayfield, I'm doing it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm betting against Baker Mayfield because I think that the Bears last week, I think the game was a little bit closer than the final score would indicate. Again, there was a few big plays by the Packers, perfect in the red zone, and then the pick 6 just kind of buried the Chicago Bears in the second half. But they had more yards in the first half than the Green Bay Packers did. So, yeah, like, it was one game. And we're like, oh, Justin Fields sucks. Like, it's over. It's done. The dream is done. We're going to back Baker Mayfield. He should be the favorite. It's like their defense allowed 370 yards, 5.9 yards per play. That was the second highest in week 2. They had 2 lost fumbles. They had 2 fumble recoveries, 1 interception that killed scoring opportunities for the Vikings. Like, everything that could have gone right for Tampa Bay went right for Tampa Bay, and they still only won by 3 points. Like that's what it had to take for them to win that game. Vikings had 2 turnovers inside the Buccaneers territory. 3rd worst yards per play in week 1. Like, yeah, this is the Baker Mayfield offense people are backing. 3.6 yards per play in week 1. I'm sorry. Like, the Buccaneers are getting way too much credit for their victory over the fraudulent Vikings, who have been overrated since the beginning of last year. So give me the Bears in a field goal game. And honestly, we're talking money line. I'd bet money line Bears. Let's go. Plus 122 FanDuel Sportsbook, moving up to money line. Don't give me the +3. Give me straight up money line. Let's go Bears.
I'm on this game too. I've already bet this game for the same exact reasons you have, which is, I mean, they're going to get DJ Moore the ball more. Like, this is the classic overcorrection week 2 right here with the Bears, I think. Not because I think the Bears are a great team, but I think the Bears have to look at that tape and go, what the hell are we doing? Like, we have to get DJ Moore the football. We have to take some shots downfield. We have to sit Chase Claypool and never let him see a field again, because that guy doesn't realize that he's supposed to actually play football when he's on the field. But overall, you know, that Tampa Bay game last week broke my heart. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on there. The Vikings just kept shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. It was very frustrating. They should have cleaned the clock of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they did not. So I'm not buying the Buccaneers. I'm with you, Erickson. Let's move on to week 2, and let's have the Bears right the ship a little bit. All right, Moneyline Monaco, let's get back to you. Number 4 on your list this week for your favorites. What do you have?
Definitely squad riding with you boys on the Bears. I love it.
Go.
Keep that NFC North futures alive. By the way, they're 10-1 to win the division from 5-1 last week. So crazy. Well, I mean,
talk about fraudulent. Like, I don't think we're going to get an idea. This is going to be one of those divisions, Alex, all year that we're all just looking at each other and go, well, somebody's going to win it. Somebody has to win it eventually, you know? And look, maybe the Lions are the class. Maybe they are. Let's see how they react in week 2.
Yeah. Well, 4th pick here, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I hate to swallow 8.5. I've seen it up to 9.5. Huge number. Just a little bit of a selling high off the Raiders, buying low off the Bills. What do we know about the Bills? They lose very close games. Matter of fact, they lost 3 games last year by a total of 8 combined points. Even a stat here since the end of 2021, they haven't lost a game by more than a field goal. What do we also know when they win? They blow teams out. 8 double-digit wins last year. 8. I mean, they started out the season Super Bowl Galifianakis hangover for the Rams, 31-10 shellacking, and they followed up with a 41-7 grown man smacking against the Titans. So this team just beats the brakes off you when they beat you. They seem like they run up the score when they do. And what do we know? The Raiders, damn near 50-50 last year as far as everything they did on offense to cancel out defensively. Bottom 4 pass D last year. I don't know that we know what the Raiders are yet. I think we just know what the Broncos are. It doesn't matter if you got the greatest coach next to Belichick in the biz, and Andy Reid, of course, no disrespect, coaching you up. I think they stole one in Mile High. Coming back here, 4 turnover game for Tim the Toolman Allen, as I call him. He's unbelievable off a loss, by the way. He's not only 17-7 off a loss, not bad above sea level on the against the spread. 7-point more or favorite, though, in his career. He's 16-1. I don't have the against the spread number, but I'm just banking on a Bills team embarrassed on Natty TV, a game they could have just blown out the Jets. They lose, they come back, they have to get it right. I think they come home in a big way. I'm just going to swallow the points here and just hope that Jimmy G is going to Jimmy G out a little bit. Again, he's a great game manager, but going against the top 2 defense from last year, we'll see what he can do on the road. Again, not to mention back-to-back road games for the Raiders. I'll take the Bills, swallow the points.
Now, you've got interest in this game too, Erickson, but a different take. What is it?
Yeah, I'm afraid of the Bills. I'm afraid with this many points, I'm afraid of that. So I'm looking at the total, and I like the over, 46.5. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo, we were concerned about, okay, how good is this offense going to be? It's like, he was really productive in his first game. You know, Garoppolo, when he plays and is healthy, he's actually pretty good. Like, there's a reason why he's won 65% of his games over his last 25 games. He's won 65% of them. Like,
I thought when he's played healthy, for the 49ers.
Right, but he had weapons, and the offensive line played really well in week 1. He was pressured on just 4 dropbacks, 14% in week 1. And what do you know? Jimmy G was good. Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs.
Do you think you get Myers for this game, though, Erickson?
Even if Myers doesn't play, you still have Hunter Renfrow as an option there as well, so he can kind of fill in. So I just don't think that there's look, the Bills' run defense, are we afraid of them with Josh Jacobs? They didn't look like a juggernaut unit against the Jets, so I'm not afraid of that. The Raiders can run the football. Which cornerback is going to hang with Devontae Adams? Tre'Davious White? I don't know, man. He looks like a shell of himself since that injury. So for me, I like backing the over in this game because I think the Raiders can put up points. I think, as we've alluded to earlier, the Bills are going to score, and they want to score points. But I think that the Raiders can actually put up points as well. And we're at 46.5. We're kind of in that middle range where it's like, it's not one of these games where we're looking at 40, 39, 38. We're like, oh, this game is gross, but the line says it's gross, but it's not up there in that 50 range. We're like, oh, it's going to be a shootout. It's in that median range that I actually like going aggressive on the over because I think the Raiders can score some points here.
I like the individual rushing prop too, the over on Jacobs for that same reason. That Bills defense, even last year, we talked about it a ton on the show. They just seemed like a unit that was not as high quality as we were used to in the past. And I think you're going to see a lot of volume, especially if Myers is out. You're going to see a lot from Josh Jacobs. Maybe even the total yardage prop, you look for that instead and go over. I think he'll be used a ton in this game as he's starting to work himself up too. Everyone forgets, he missed a bunch of camp. So don't expect, the enormous workload week one, but in week two, I think you could start to look for that starting to a little bit more like it did last year. All right, before we get to our final ones here, just a reminder, we want you to join our NFL contest. So if you have already downloaded the app, go to the community tab, go to NFL contest and join, because the winner's going to get an autographed Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey. And every week we're giving away prizes here. We're giving away monthly winners as well. We're doing Fantasy Pros swag. We're doing Betting Pros swag. You're doing hats and t-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of things. Plus, we're also giving away 1 year free premium upgrades to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros for doing nothing except picking games. You just got to pick 5 games a week. You can just go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest or join it on the community tab in the app. That's how you do it. So go be a part of this. Again, pick 5 games a week, 100 on the season. That's it. That's all you have to do. And we're giving away free stuff. We want the free stuff to go to you. You. That's it. Just you. I'm talking to you. All right. Let's get to our last picks of the week here. Alex Monaco, what do you have here that you got your eye on for week 2? Everybody else should.
I hate the hook, but again, I got to do it. I did get it at -3. I'll still co-sign at -3.5. This is the cow herd theory. We've all heard him on the herd talk this out. A team gets embarrassed 1 week in the NFL, back them the following week, especially a consummate professional like Joey Burr. I was with you guys. That was my dirty dog last week. Browns outright.
Oh,
that
easy.
was a trap game. I mean, Burrow was 1-4 against the Browns prior to, and I got a stat here that's crazy. The Bengals are 12-3 against the spread in their last 15 games. 2 of their 3 they didn't cover were against the Brownies. So I wouldn't be Jamar Chase talking elf this, whatever the heck he was saying that next time they dance. But Burrow off a loss, and we know about him against the spread. He's unbelievable. 13-4 against the spread off a loss, 8-1 ATS in the months of September and October. They're a perfect buy low spot here. And combination of things, obviously the big loss coming back to base camp, but Lamar with Monken here, new offensive coordinator in his 5th stint as an offensive play caller in the NFL. I think there's going to be a little trials and tribs rolling this team out. No J.K. Dobbins, can't understate that. It's a top 3 rushing team from last year, losing their starting running back. Lamar had 1 completion and 7 pressures against the Texans last week. And that was not an easy win, sure, on the box score, but they made it gross like the Ravens do. Lamar hasn't played the Bengals particularly well. He's thrown a pick in 3 of his last 4, hasn't gone over 200 yards in 3 of the last 4. It's a top 7 Bengals D from last year against the run. So now you're going to tell me without Dobbins, they got to beat him in the air. And it was a top 10 defense. This team gave up the same 20.1 points per game as the Cowboys. So it's a combination of a good spot, divisional home game. They're not the dog. They're laying it. I hate the number, but I just think it's a good timing of a purchase. And as far as AFC North, I mean, these teams were all 3-3 against each other last year. I joke they beat up on each other like the Gronkowski brothers at the dinner table fighting for the last piece of meat. It's a perfect timing purchase. I got to back historically a great cover, and I think they hopefully beat them by 4 or more.
I agree with you 100%. I'm right back on the Bengals this week. And last week was such an easy one. Joe Burrow hadn't played.
Oh, yeah.
He was coming off the injury. The weather was bad. The Browns always take it to him anyway. It was on the... I mean, I don't know how many things we could have laid up there that made it a bad situation for the Bengals, and yet people still didn't want to go into it with the Cleveland Browns. So this week, a different story. I agree with you 100%. And I also agree, Ravens are a work in progress. Let's get too excited too fast. They are going to have to figure some things out here. Defensively look pretty good, though. All right, Erickson, give me the last thing you're looking for in week 2. What do you have?
Betting on the Lions. Lions team total over 26.5 points. The Seattle defense got eviscerated by Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell last week. I'm pretty sure the Lions can put up points against the Seattle defense. Look, they were the number one offense at home last year, averaging 33.1 points per game. Detroit's 18-7 versus the spread in games with 54 points or fewer scored since offensive coordinator Ben Johnson took on a larger role calling in the Detroit offense. Basically, when Jared Goff has time to throw, he's going to rip defenses to shred. Seattle basically put no pressure on Matthew Stafford last week. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have a good secondary. So for me, it's like Seattle, I talked about being worried about them. I don't know how many points they're going to be able to score without their tackles, but I feel confident just backing the Lions at home. I would even take them at plus 4.5, but I like their offense here, 26.5 points.
All right, just to recap here, Erickson's on the Giants at the 5.5. He is on the over of the Texans and Colts. On the money line with the Bears, but also at the +3. So there you go, both of those things. The Bills, Raiders over 46.5, and the Lions team total 26.5. I can't wait to see more Jahmyr Gibbs and maybe even some more Sam Laporta in that game too. I think they're just scratching the surface of what those guys could possibly do. And on the other side here, Mr. Moneyline Monaco did go on the money line for the Patriots, and he's not just trying to kiss up to the hosts here just because we're Patriot fans. He believes it. The Bills -8.5, the Bengals -3, which is now moved to 3.5. But again, keep an eye on it. Set those alerts, and maybe you might get some more movement going backwards there as it gets bet. The Chiefs -3, which is also moved to -3.5, and the Falcons at +1.5. Make sure you follow this man over on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, at Moneyline Monaco, at Alex_Monaco2. Check out his great work at the Volume Network. Terrific stats, terrific energy. You know, we're just excited that you took the time to hang out with us today. And again, enjoy your week too, Monaco, and go crush all those bets. I want all those bar mitzvah bonds cashed, and I want them all on the Chiefs this week. That's what I want.
Hey, Joe Erickson, appreciate you. I know you're across the river, so we cashed some bar mitzvah money back. I'm taking us out for a little pizza. You pick the location as the veteran.
I will show you the right place in New York for the pizza, my friend. That will always be the thing. It's L&B, by the way, not a sponsor of the show. Spumoni Gardens. That's where you go. That's the best pizza on the planet. I didn't get to take Erickson there. He was at my house a couple weeks ago. When you come back, Erickson, we'll go there. We'll make a special pilgrimage for the pizza. That's what you got to do. All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Alex Monaco and Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Bingo.